Shifting focus now to some breaking news that's coming in, and this is from the Supreme Court, which is hearing the case as far as the 2018 electoral bond scheme goes. We're now given to understand that the petitioners in this case are questioning the legal validity of the scheme in itself. They say that the government has legalized kickbacks. This is what Advocate Prashant Bhushan has said, that by these electoral bonds, the government has actually decided to legalize kickbacks, and this anonymous instrument promotes corruption. And there is good reason to believe that these bonds are a way given by kickbacks to parties in power. Remember, a constitution bench of the Supreme Court is hearing several petitions that were clubbed together as far as the 2018 electoral bond scheme goes. Just yesterday, in fact, we had the central government make its submission and go on to tell the Supreme Court that the citizens do have a right to know within a democracy, but that right is subject to reasonable restrictions. This comes in the backdrop of the 5-judge Supreme Court Constitution bench, which is presided by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, that is hearing these particular petitions. The hearing is underway even as we speak, and the petitioners are making several arguments in the case. They argue that the BJP, in fact, the party in power, has received more than 60% of contributions via its electoral bonds, and that they do not want to make public what the source of this funding is, and that is a way of receiving kickbacks, is the allegation the petitioners are making. Ananya Bhatnagar, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details. Ananya, what else can you tell us? What's transpiring in court?
Well, the petitioners today, this is the day one of the hearing, remember, and the matter came up before a constitution bench of the Supreme Court today, which is being headed by the Chief Justice of India, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, and the petitioners who began, in fact, Prashant Bhushan was beginning the argument for ADR, the Association of Democratic Reforms, who had filed these petitions. There are a batch of petitions that challenge the legality of that particular electoral bond scheme of the central government. Very, very categorically is arguing that, the BJP has received more than 60% of the contributions via electoral bonds, while the other parties have received an insignificant amount. And I quote that BJP has received 5217 crores out of a grand total of 9191 crores. The 952 crores were received by Congress, 767 by the Trinamool Congress. He further goes on to say that the centre ruling party has got more than 60% of the total contribution. He further goes on to say that, this scheme has actually legalized kickbacks. This is a big charge that is coming in, and at a time when the centre had said that, there is no fundamental right for the people to know as to who is contributing as per the electoral bonds. This was, remember, a statement made by the Attorney General of India via an affidavit before the top of the country in the centre's compilation that has been given out to the Constitution bench. Further, Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal, who is representing different petitioners in this case, go on to argue that, capital and influence go hand in hand, and the more capital you have, the more influence you have on people. So basically, he's pointing out that if at all there is more and more money that is being received through electoral bonds, there has to be some accountability, some transparency that has to be there. So how much of it does it play up before the Supreme Court? This is just the day one, and what would also be interesting to see is that though the centre has given out its response by way of the Attorney General giving out his views via an affidavit, what would the centre be, how would the centre be actually defending all these arguments that will be continuing for the next few days? Poonam.
Right, it'll be interesting to wait and watch out for that. For the moment though, Ananya, thank you so much for getting us the latest. Let's shift focus now to